What's going on, man? Franchise Jake Claxton and Dr. Kaz Vaughn is
Hey, hey, hey,
season
hey.
4. Let me make sure I get it for uno, dos, tres, cuatro.
I am so proud of you. You speak my language.
You know, I know how to count to 10 in your language. Having
What happens after
some
10?
years of Spanish, eventually, I mean, somewhere along the line, I had to
What
learn
happens
something.
after 10?
That's it. And I'll tell
After
you,
10.
Vamanos, let's get this going.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You know Vamanos?
I learned
It's not
that.
even really pronounced like that, but I'm gonna give you
I
your
learned
grace.
that from Dora the Explorer.
Oh my gosh. Don't tell
I'm
anybody
being
else that.
honest.
Wow. Wow.
Am I right though? I mean, hurry up, let's go.
Well, it's not exactly Vamanos like that.
How you say it?
Not like that.
I'm asking you.
It's not like that.
So,
Hey,
so
so
no,
season
stop.
4.
Before we go, tell me how you say it,
Vamos.
huh?
Vamos. That's how it is
That ain't
said.
how Dora said it.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. Dora is
That ain't
also
how.
not um, Latino.
So what is it?
She is a Caucasian woman who plays a Latino. Thank you.
No, I want to know. I'm gonna look that up.
Okay, well, look it
I
up
believe it. I
because you
believe
don't
it.
believe anything.
No, I believe it.
Um,
But season 4, we having some
season
fun.
4,
We are
Jay
outside.
decided that we were gonna come outside.
We are on the mean streets.
Outside. The main streets
Yeah,
of what?
wherever we at.
The main
On
streets.
the dock.
On the dock.
On the
We
mean
on
streets of the dock.
sitting on the dock of the
The
bay.
bay.
So tonight we have an amazing relationship coach. I've been following her for quite some time.
Okay.
Her Instagram is Align with Alison.
Mm-hmm.
Man, when I tell you she gives some tips, you probably should follow her. You can learn something.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we have Alison, amazing coach. Of course, she is, from the great state of New York. You
Okay.
know how
So,
I feel about New York.
the good thing is today, as I was moving around, I was able to see what happened in New York
Yo,
yesterday.
yesterday was crazy. Can I tell you how your friend Jada really kind of yo, did you hear what he said about your homeboy Jazz?
I watched it. I
Man,
watched it today.
Allison, did you see the
Yeah.
verses?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And I have
Did
to
Yeah.
tell you
did
that I thot that Dipset was gonna run with this, but
Everybody did.
I
man,
didn't. I didn't.
you knew that the
I
locks was
didn't.
gonna come through.
But
I
you
did.
gotta remember though, they like Jada is battle tested. He's a battle rapper, and really Cam came from that, but that ain't really what he do anymore. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And Jim Jim has grown as an artist, but he
Right.
wasn't a battle guy. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like Jim's a great artist now, fashion guy and everything, but he just didn't.
Great entrepreneur
Yeah,
too.
but
Yeah.
he's not a battle rapper. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So
Yeah.
Interesting enough, everybody was talking about Jim falling off the stage, but he really did not fall off the stage.
he jumped out there.
No, but do you know why he jumped out there?
Somebody did something.
No, his
Oh,
ring fell off.
okay.
He didn't want to go home and Chrissy whoop his ass.
Oh.
Oh,
Well, I did see them put his chain back on.
Yeah.
Eventually.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, but no, his ring fell off. And actually, one of the reps I was talking to her today, and she was like, "Yo, people are clowning him, but he did not fall. He really was going out there to get his stuff." I was
Right.
like, "Hey, you got to do what you got to do." So
Mm-hmm.
listen, Allison, thank you so much for joining us tonight. As I told you before, Jay decided we're gonna be outside, so that's where we're at. Love Business on Lock, just so you know a little bit about us. Jay, of course, on air personality, DJ, travel across the country DJing. Me, I just play with him all day. That's what I tell people. And so the whole podcast started because we were casted for our own network show in Atlanta, a relationship show. And out of that show, spun off Love Business on Lock because we started off in business, we fell in love. Well, some days we are in love, and then we got it on lock. You know,
Mm-hmm. Beautiful, beautiful
So some
stuff.
days.
some days.
No, you said some days.
Do you love me every day? Do you? Okay. She can't hear you.
Yes. Listen, yes.
Good. I'm glad to hear.
Yes. Yes. Ask her, do she love me today?
I love you every day.
Okay. All right. Let's
Faults
make
and
sure.
all.
I'll make sure.
What Beyonce say? Flaws and all.
Not
Yep.
that many of them.
Anyway,
I've got that
get
better.
started, please.
I'm playing. Alison, what we wanted to talk about early, unfortunately, has nothing to do with love in business. I did want to really talk about what I had because I didn't see it last night. I ended up falling asleep before it got going, but I was able to watch it on YouTube. And actually, it's still up. Locks and Dipset, and really wanted to find out what your thoughts was about that epic event that happened last night.
Well, first of all, thank you for asking. I think a lot of people presume that as a woman, I don't have interest, stock, or knowledge in hip hop, and I'm a huge hip hop fan. So thank you
Thank
for
you.
even caring enough to ask me, because I don't think most people would even think would the
Thank you.
relationship chick care, right? I'm a huge 90s and 2000 hip hop fan. I think I'm a bigger fan of Dipset only because of the good looks, right? Like the charm that Cam has. I mean, what? Come on, Styles P is not a looker, right? Chic
Well,
Luch,
true.
which is the least talented of the three, is the handsome one. So
Right.
as a woman, I kind of was more attracted to Dipset and the flash and the jewelry and the swag, right? Cam with the pink and all that. So I think I was just generally more attracted to Dipset, and I really do. I love Diplomatic Immunity. I think the album from top to bottom is like, it seems like it's single after single after single. So when I heard about this matchup, I thought it was an appropriate matchup, which is important because a lot of times these matchups don't be appropriate. Like I thought that the Fab and Jada matchup was weird. I didn't get it and I didn't like it. But I thought, all right, this is an appropriate matchup. Two groups, similar decades, similar quality of music. But I said, Dipset got this. Lo and behold, from the get-go, from the intro. So the Locks comes out, their music is ready to go. When Dipset came out, there was some musical error. I don't know how that stuff, you probably know more than I do as a DJ. Something went wrong, and that was from the beginning where it just went downhill. I think there was a lack of performance. As Jada kept saying, like they're lip syncing, like are we rapping here or what's going on? Right. It seemed like folks forgot their lyrics.
Yeah.
Jada took the whole thing.
I'm telling
over,
you, everything that Jada said out of his mouth was violence.
Yes.
And he's the MVP. He really is the MVP.
He came to fight.
He scored a triple-double. You know what I mean? Like, he really was the MVP. And like you said, I think part of that was everybody was too cool. You know what I mean? Like, Dipset was too cool. And the Locks come from that battle world. The only one that is associated with Dipset that comes from that battle world was Cam. But Cam is so cool now that he's lost some of it because he had, the beach chair. I seen the beach chair come out and all of that.
Right.
And
but see, the thing is that you also have to learn how to pivot, right? So if you're in the middle of a fight and you come out to fight and that cool shit ain't working for you, like then you need to learn that, hey, this is not working. Let me transition. Let me take off my 7 hats and my do-rag, take off my chains and give it to somebody who's trustworthy and then let me transition. But you can't they didn't realize they were getting whooped until the end. And then now you want to, fight, in a battle in a respectful way. Now you want to fight, it's too late. But I think it was great for New York. I feel like it put New York back on the map.
I absolutely agree.
It opened up a lot of people's eyes that these Southern rappers aren't doing anything. And this is really the birthplace. I'm super proud to be a New Yorker. And I think that Jada killed it. There was one thing I didn't like. Jada made a comment. I didn't like that comment.
About Jay?
But I didn't like it.
The one he made about Drew Hill?
No. Okay. What he said, I think, I don't know, Jewel, somebody said like, well, you doing all the songs. And he said, I'm the transmission. I got this on my back. Now we know it's true, right? We know that it's Jada, then it's Styles, and then it's Chic. But you gotta say that out loud. Like, we don't need Beyonce to say, I'm Beyonce, I'm the
Exactly. I agree. I do agree. I do agree with that.
I felt like they were saying that Jada wouldn't shut up. He the only one talking while you keep talking. And basically, he like, yo, I'm supposed to. I'm the transmission. So I don't
know, Alison. I kind of agree with you on that because I believe that you can beat your chest, but not all the time.
No, I didn't.
Not in front of 500,000 people. Like, we all know that Jada's all that.
I didn't take that as a slight. But I mean, like I didn't. I just felt like he was speaking the truth. Like, I'm the one that's gonna talk this talk and get this going, get this automobile moving, and for real.
So he should say he's the engine.
For real, and like this, been all day, watching, while going back and watching. The Locks DJ was so crucial.
Mm-hmm.
Early on, before they got out there, he just was on point. Dipset's DJ wasn't necessarily on point. You said that when they started off, and just going through, you could tell that they had actually prepared, and this wasn't just let me go and say my hits and lip sync my hits.
Right,
For them, they
right.
prepared that. You know what I mean? They
I
prepared.
would say they better
And
prepared.
whatever song, like when they played "Welcome to New York City," he knew he had a counter for him. Whenever they had a counter for him. That was cute. I knew that was coming. I knew. You know what I'm saying? Like I knew that was coming. And they just counted everything. And then when he said, "Yo, we got Grammys. They only got
Grams. Yep.
We got Grammys." You know what I'm saying?
I'm telling you, but I feel like as great as the show was, the real show was in those comments. Like I'm gonna tell you.
I didn't. Yeah, like I didn't.
Those.
See
I'm telling you the comments were crazy, like hilarious. To the point that I was sitting there like reading some of the comments, like, oh my god, like just hilarious was like Teddy Riley don't come for all these hearts. It was just funny to me. Like it really
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
On what I watched today, I didn't see any.
What's the comedian last name Crockett? Oh my god.
Avion.
Yes, his comment was, he said, "It's so many people on stage. I thought I was up there."
There was some room for improvement, but I think the rawness still says a lot about this is real hip hop. This is battle. This is what a versus looks like. And the fact that it was so raw and authentic and in New York with New York artists, I think it gently reminded people where the birthplace is. So I did appreciate that.
Sure.
It's New York and it's home, and everybody want to be a part. Everybody's crew, everybody's family. So that's the one thing I felt. I knew that was going to be a problem, and I knew that was going to be a problem because everybody is the crew. Everybody wants to help. Everybody want to be there. Everybody feel like they are supposed to be there. So I kind of knew that.
Yeah. So enough with the Locks. Enough with verses, because now it's time for us to give the food.
Okay.
And to receive the food as well. My question to you is, as a relationship coach or therapist, what are some of the most common things that you find couples have issues with?
So, and this is going to be kind of what everybody says, right? Touche. But communication, like that's really the biggest issue. But let me tell you, it's not when you think it is. So a lot of times people think of the biggest issue when you're in a relationship is poor communication. It's not when you're in it, it's before you got in it. When there isn't clear communication about what the expectations are, what your standards are, what your desires are, what the vision is for your life, if you don't have those conversations in advance, you are going to be in big trouble. So for instance, two people are dating, they're thinking about getting serious, and they're thinking about maybe having children, and they don't talk about parenting and child rearing. I believe in whooping my kids. You don't believe in whooping your kids. I believe at being at every football game, basketball, dance performance, you think that kids kind of just raise themselves. Like when you don't have those pivotal conversations beforehand, that's when things become problematic, because now we already married, or now the kid's already here, and we're supposed to figure it out amongst each other as adults in front of this kid. If we don't have conversations in advance about gender roles and what the expectations are in the household before we move in. Now we moved in together and we're struggling with who's washing the dishes, who's taking the baby to school. So communication is the biggest issue, but it's not once the relationship is already formulated. It's about not clarifying what your standards or expectations or whatever it is are before the relationship starts. That's the biggest issue.
And it's funny because, me having kids, I have 2 kids, that was crucial for me. And I still feel like that. I feel what you said. I want to be at every game. I want to be at every practice. I want to be because you can. I'm a firm believer is you can't get moments back.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. You just can't get moments back. It's just impossible. And I want to be there to support. I was a sports guy, and I just want to be there. I want to see everything. I want to see the whole. It's those steps. The compound interest every day. I want to see those steps. So I want to be there every day. I really try to rearrange the schedule in order to watch my daughter at swim practice, not at
a meet.
meet.
Right.
I'm not going to be at the meet. But I wanted to be at the practice. You know what I'm saying? Where her mother really,
So he has 2 children
Right.
from a previous relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So mother didn't really didn't want to go, but
Didn't see the value.
just like, hey, I could go, I could be at the meet, or you really could go to the to the practice. I didn't want to miss nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Because support is everything. So I definitely understand that. But for you, talking to everybody, dealing with everybody's relationships, you know what I'm saying? How do you deal with everybody coming to you with their issues, problems, needing answers? How do you cope with that on your shoulders on a regular basis?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So for the most part, my primary focus are single people. So that's who I
Gotcha.
really work with the most. Working with single people to help them find the partner that they deserve. But every once in a while, I do get people who reach out for couples coaching, and I do work with them. And I just try to keep an open ear. Like, I think it's important that people understand that your therapist does not have a dog in this fight. Your coach, your counselor doesn't have a dog in this fight. So I'm just trying to listen to both sides and just come up with the most reasonable resolution. Now, whether or not y'all take my advice, whether or not y'all stay together really makes me know how, right? Of course, I want folks to be happy in life, but my finances aren't impacted. My happiness isn't impacted. Like, whatever you decide to do is what you do. So the way that I approach it is that I just listen to both sides, and I try to just be as unbiased as possible, taking in the information I receive and then giving folks next steps. I don't take it home with me. Sometimes I do talk to my husband about some outrageous stories I might hear. But other than that, I don't take it home with me. I don't let it affect me personally. I listen to both sides and I assess what's the next best step.
So one of the things, because we tell everybody that we are very transparent, right? Because we don't want anybody to think, oh, we have this perfect relationship. So with that said, I want to talk about apologies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Situation occurred today, right? And I've been saying for hours now, hey, you owe me an apology. Not an apology for the situation, but an apology for how you made me feel.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, because this wonderful gentleman right here is very stubborn and will not apologize if he doesn't think that he's wrong
Mm-hmm.
for a situation. He doesn't understand that there's a difference in being wrong. I'm not saying apologize to me because of the situation. I'm saying I feel like I deserve an apology for how you made me feel.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was saying to him earlier, right before we hopped on, actually, I was like, there has to be some compromise. I will apologize sometimes when I don't necessarily think I'm wrong for what happened, but I apologize for how I made him feel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So these are my thoughts, right? So I got to tell you that I said I try my best not to be biased, but we're all human beings. I too do not apologize to people unless I feel like I was wrong in the circumstance, like you're talking about, or wrong in my tone or approach. So the both of you have already agreed that you're not doing an apology around the circumstance, whatever happened, right? But if I'm hearing what you're saying right, is that you're asking for apology on the response. Is that correct?
On the tone of the response and
Mm-hmm.
how I, because it's something that happens reoccurring.
Okay.
So because it's something that happens reoccurring when he's in a particular space, my thing is, hey, I've talked to you about it, and I've told you that every time that you're in this space, that this is what I get, and really, I'm calling innocently And so I'm basically I'm getting beat up because of a space that you're in. So if you make me feel a certain way, that's not like, it's not, even if you're trying to tell me something, right? And Jay says this all the time, even if you're trying to tell me something, it's not what you say, but it's how you say it.
Right.
So if that's the premise that we live by, then we both have to live by that. And once I tell you that I could not accept what you were saying because of how you said it, then you have to at least respect that and apologize for if your tone was harsh when it really shouldn't have been.
Hey, do you agree that the tone was harsh?
Jay, she's talking to you.
No, I know.
You didn't respond.
She said, "Do you agree that the tone?"
But you looked away.
Because I was thinking of a response. I was thinking of a response. I just wanted to. I think maybe the harshest came when I probably felt like, "Hey, give me a second. I'll call you back," and then
that didn't come out your mouth though.
we kept on, and that's why I felt like the harshest might have came, because I'm just like, give me a second.
You didn't say that to me.
I'll give you.
You didn't say that to me when you went off.
A buzz back. So that's where
sometimes I feel like we're in the same conversation, but we're not saying the same things, because you said that to me after you yelled. You didn't say that before. You didn't say give me a second. And that's why I said to you that I didn't feel as though that I deserved the response that you gave me. Because I even said to you prior to that, I said, "Are you busy? Can you talk?" And you said, "No, we were just sitting here. Yeah, I can talk for a second." So I would not have continued my conversation if you hadn't said that.
Jay, do you agree that the circumstances happened in the order in which she said?
I'm pretty close. You know what I mean? Close. I don't even necessarily be honest, necessarily know really this how the conversation went. Just
right.
I kind of gave it back the way I thought that it went. You know, like call. I'm take the call because it was, because it was her. But I was tied up doing what I was doing. She kind of knew what was going on, and I just was going to take care of it. And I felt like it was still. I'm like, I need to take care of this. Like, got to give me a sec.
Right.
And I don't feel like I got that.
Right. I understand. So what I see here is two things. One thing that I see is that, and this might be controversial, but maybe if you're not in a position to talk, maybe if not in a space to talk, don't talk.
Then say, and don't answer the phone, because he does that a lot. Like, he won't answer the phone if he can't talk. So my thing is,
and you've accepted that. You've never given pushback.
No, I don't give pushback. No, because if you can't talk, I'm like, really, if you want to be honest, Allison, if he wanted to be honest right this second, he would tell you, I give him no drama. You get no pushback from me. I'm so easygoing. And I always say, I'd rather you tell me, if you can't talk right this second, send me a text and say, hey, I'm gonna call you right back. I can't say anything about that because you're busy, and being as though I understood that he had to take care of some other things, I wouldn't have given any pushback. And I think that's how I agree with what you said, especially because I said to him, I said, hey, can you talk right now? Are you busy? No, I said, are you preoccupied? Can you talk right now? So at the point that you tell me yes, that's go time, you know?
Understood. And then so that's one thing, right? Like, Jay just needs to be more mindful that I ain't answering the phone. Like, and if you know that, your girl ain't gonna go crazy over that, because some people can't do that.
Yeah, I probably should have. I probably, and now hearing it back when y'all kind of going talking about it, maybe I shouldn't have answered the phone. Maybe I should have just texted. Because if I do that, we ain't having this conversation right now.
Right.
And I don't want to have this conversation right now, Alison. I'm gonna be honest with you. But I don't have a problem with it because it's what we do. That's the whole.
And we
point.
wouldn't have had you apologize for how you made
That's the whole point of the podcast. It's about showing everybody, get the food from you, and giving food back, and
Right.
that's what it's about. So I'm I apologize for picking up the phone, and if you felt like my tone was disrespectful or loud or aggressive, I apologize.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Because that's not what I was trying to
Right.
get across.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I appreciate it. What are some key things that couples should do in preparing to be in a relationship? Because I think a lot of times they don't prepare to be with their partner. And I
Mm-hmm.
know one of the things you said was communication and how you communicate prior to. But what are some other key things that you think couples should do?
Mm-hmm. So I think before we even talk about couples, individuals need to do some work, right? I think a lot of people, and I'll be honest with you, I'm really talking about women,
Right.
have an impractical list of qualities that they want in people, and usually men, if we're talking about heterosexual relationships, of things that they don't have or they can't complement. So I think there needs to be some work that's done internally to first figure out exactly what you're looking for in a mate and come to the realization of how practical it is of what you're looking for in a mate, right? For gentlemen, there's something in that I find with men is that they are not honest a lot of times about where they are in their lives. So they might be in a phase of their life that they want to date around and they want to see different women and they want to have those experiences, but they're not communicating that with the people that they're dating. They're leaving the people that they're dating with the impression that they want more, right? So they got a whole girlfriend and this woman who thinks that's her man, right? While they're still philandering. Now you're a young person, right? You're in your 20s, you in your early 30s, and you still want to have a good time. There's nothing wrong. You could be 50 and want to have a good time. Nothing wrong with that. What's wrong with it is when you're not transparent and honest to the people that you're dealing with. You need to tell folks from the beginning what it is. If you're looking to have a good time, to have some experiences, to get to know each other, to see where things go, say that. So doing the work with first, I would say more with women about being more practical and realistic about what they're looking for in a partner, making sure that they have the things or they can complement what they want in a partner. That's the advice I would give to women specifically before getting on the dating scene. And then for men, before getting on the dating scene, being sure about what you want. Do not lie to nobody's daughter, telling them that you want something that you actually do not want. It's not right.
Right. It is that took time.
Mhm.
You know, for for us, for me as a man, that took time. That took some other relationships. That took some failures. Because your lessons come out of failures. You know what I mean? Or that's where your lessons come from. From failures, from failed tries, and that's where the growth comes from. And that's what happens unless you're taught that at an early age, and most men
That's what I
aren't
wanted you to say.
necessarily taught that. We not taught that. We're not taught that we are supposed to. I meet Cass, and she do everything that I need, but um, I'm not taught that I need to focus right here when I have everything in the woman that I want, in the mate that I want.
Right.
I'm not taught that, because what happens is we are celebrated amongst peers
Yeah.
for for having a bunch of women.
Yeah.
We celebrate it. Well, Jay, you the man. You got all the girls, and you know what I'm saying. You everybody on you, and you get all of the vagina and blah blah blah. And so, no, nobody said go that route, but because you just mentally feel like you're supposed to go that route because you celebrate it amongst the peers.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And you don't realize it until later on down the line. You like, y'all lost 4 great women or 8 great women or whatever the number
I hope
is.
it's not 8.
No, I'm saying whatever the number is.
Right.
You lost, and you don't realize it. And it, as men, we don't necessarily tell the next generation how to move properly. You know what I'm saying? How to move properly. We don't necessarily tell them that. So they don't know. They listening to, the music, and the music is guiding them. The music is guiding them, and it's not.
Mhm.
It ain't the right guidance.
Right.
It's not the right guidance. And I didn't mean to take up that much time in that explanation. But,
No, this
you
is
know,
I
about.
think that was important though.
we we not talking. We don't teach them, and that's why I tend to talk a hole in people's head, because I'm like, if you talk to me for 10 minutes, that you had to get value in that 10 minutes.
Right,
You
right,
know,
right.
like I don't just want to. I don't want to be around you if there's no value.
Right,
And you
right,
shouldn't want
right,
to be
right,
around me
right.
if there's no value.
Absolutely, I
I
agree.
was to piggyback on what he was talking about. I was reading something actually this morning, and it was talking about what you were talking about as far as how men are taught and how women are taught, and then it broke it down and it said, but each time that man or that woman is intimate with that person, do you understand how much energy you're
Yes.
pulling? So the thing is that if you're intimate with somebody who has positive energy, then it may be positive energy pouring into you. But if you're intimate with somebody who's woe is me and whatever, that's
Right.
the energy that you're pouring back, and that people don't realize how powerful that is.
Absolutely, well said. I think there's definitely an exchange of energy. And
Mhm.
I mean, I've seen like memes and photos about that exchange, especially when folks get physical.
Mhm.
And then there's that connection there. We talk about soul ties, especially like in the church and that man. So we do have to be careful about who we connect with. But just in the same token, on a very, let's just be honest. Like we just need more honesty. And I'm so glad, Jay, you said what you said about generations having to have those conversations. And I do think that our generation, we're
Mhm.
doing such a better job. I think
We
there's so
are.
many
Yeah.
Yeah,
more
we are.
Yeah.
We
active
are.
dads, active men in the community who are really dropping gems and teaching our young men about the way that they need to treat women and how they need to uplift their community and how they have to be better
Absolutely.
human beings. I really do.
Because I hate that B word. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That drives a. Oh, that drive. And even I just don't like it. I don't like that word. It's something about that word. I got a daughter, I got a mother, a grandmother. You know what I'm saying? I got a lady. I just those the only time I use that word is when I'm talking about how somebody's attitude is,
Actions.
and really
Mhm.
it's about men and how they move,
Mhm.
because a lot of times these guys, don't. It's a lot of BSness with
Mhm.
these guys.
I like
You know
that.
what I'm
I like
saying?
that. BSness.
BSness.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Without me even saying
I
the
like
word,
that.
Right.
it's a lot of that. So that's when we use that word. But I hate to hear men describe
I hate
that,
when women do that.
and yeah, and I don't
Yeah.
play with that word anyway. Like I don't play with that word.
Mhm.
The guy who made sure I was good in the streets when I was young, I seen him beat the living daylights out of his homeboy for his homeboy calling him that B word.
Mhm.
So I took that as I ain't supposed to call no other man or no other woman that, or that's fighting words.
Oh, that's
You know what
fighting
I'm saying?
words. Yep.
That's fighting words. I ain't gonna
Yep.
never disrespect. I don't play. Don't call me no B, no
No
clown,
clown.
or no whore. We ain't
Right.
with none of them. And that whore is a Baltimore word. You know what I'm saying? Because they use that. Don't call me none
Or
of them.
dummy.
You know,
Mhm.
don't call me none of them. Or
Yeah.
so I don't understand that, and the music doesn't help.
Mhm.
Right.
And,
Right.
and I, I play a part in that because I'm a DJ.
Right.
But it's we describe the women as the beat. How you do that? Like, how do you do that?
Mhm.
You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, how do you do that? I
We
don't
were
get.
recently listening to a song. It was a Kanye song, and remember, you were like, I didn't realize it
Oh,
was
oh,
that much.
oh, damn it, what song was it? With him
But
and
it was because he's on radio, and all his music is clean.
Right.
So he had never heard
Right.
the dirty version until he
Yes.
just happened to be in a car. And
with the
I can't even think of what the song was. Mm. But anyway, throughout the dirty
yeah,
version,
yeah,
what
yeah,
is it?
yeah.
Oh, he can't sing.
I love it. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Yeah,
Oh. Oh yeah. Uh huh.
yeah.
Yeah. So the dirty version, It's a lot of the B words.
Yes.
It like it's terrible, you know.
I was I was like, God damn, and I like this song, right? And I was on my way to pick her up. It's like, God damn, man, you said B, whore, and you said that shit about 1,000 times.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely.
You know, and I cuss like a sailor, but it's just
certain words you don't use.
Certain words I just don't use.
Got it.
How important do you think intimacy is in a relationship?
Oh, super important. Super important. And we're not only talking about intimacy in regards to sex, right?
Right, correct.
Right. So sex is important and intimacy overall is important. So having that level of exclusive closeness, right? Intimacy, being close physically, being close spiritually, and it's exclusive, it's not being shared with others, is super important. If we are together, right? We are in a relationship, we're in a committed relationship together, and it lacks intimacy, it lacks personal closeness, then what are we doing? We friends. We friends who live together, you know?
Right.
So if you don't have that exclusive closeness, both physically, spiritually, however you want to say it, right? You're not spending that quality time, you're not having that exclusive touch, then what are we doing here? That Jada Kiss was saying that the whole night. What are we doing here? Like, what are we doing here then? We're friends who live under the same roof, who maybe we might hit each other off every once a month or something like that. That's not a relationship.
Right. What you got?
That's not a relationship.
No, I heard you, and I was like, "What you got?" Because you look like you had a response.
Well, I don't have a response because I agree. I mean, like, I don't have a response because I absolutely agree. I agree that I agree on that. You know, so I don't have a response.
Right.
And sex matters. So for those that, you know, sex doesn't matter, it does. And I will say this, a lot of times in a relationship, sex will continue to diminish over time. Many times women are blamed for that, right? Oh, she's too tired. I think there needs to be more conversation about what husbands or partners can do to alleviate that stress, so that you're not putting your wife or your girlfriend or your partner in a position where she can use the house, the kids, the job as a reason why the sex is diminishing in that relationship. We want to complain about not enough sex, but ask her why not. She's going to say she's tired. Why is she tired? She's doing a majority of the housework. She's doing a majority of the house rearing, plus a regular 9 to 5, just like dad, right? Or just like the partner. So there needs to be more equity in that household so that she can't say she's tired. So when she says she don't want to give it up, now what? Because I wash the dishes and I bathe the kids and I put them to bed. So what now? Sex matters. Sex is important. But many times you hear it's women who aren't giving it up anymore. I've also heard a lot of people say, like, oh, don't get married. If you get married, you're not going to have sex anymore. It's not about that. If both people prioritize it, then it can be a part of your life for as long as your body parts work, right? It can be. But the question is, do folks allow life to get in the way? And is the other partner being supportive to make sure that life doesn't get in the way? Or do you have an expectation that your partner is doing most of the housework, most of the house rearing, still working a 9 to 5? Because in this day and age, right, 2 incomes is really what's best to live a comfortable life. And then now you expect sex at 12 midnight? Hell no.
Right. And I think that it's important that you communicate about it. Like, you can't not communicate about it. And I also believe that when your partner comes and says, hey, there's an issue, this is the issue, that you can't go silent, you can't ignore it, because when you ignore it, you just make that problem bigger.
Yes.
And in some cases, you know, you can make your partner feel as though that you're not attracted to him, or you're doing something else. Like, all of those thoughts happen on both men and women's side.
Yes.
So the communication cannot stop, because when the communication stops, really the relationship stops.
Yeah, absolutely. So there needs to be clear communication about what's going on and how can we rectify it. But it can't be complaining on one side and no action on the other.
Or silence on the other side.
The other side.
What you got?
No, what I wanted to ask you, and I said what I wanted to ask you was, what is the biggest negative that you see when you were talking to, you know, singles, or talking to people, preparing them for a relationship. What is the biggest negative, and what is the biggest positive that you see? Because it gotta be both sides.
Right.
Mhm.
I know you see some like what are those things? The biggest negative
One
and
of the biggest
positive.
problems that I see with single people looking for partnership is when they have unrealistic expectations. They think, and again, because most of my audience are female, so I'm speaking from a female perspective. When they expect some kind of romanticized Disney movie, I'm walking down the street,
Street holding hands and kissing.
Jay sees me, we lock eyes, like that. And no, it don't work like that, right? Like, he hits my shoulder, I drop my books, he picks the books up. That's just,
Right.
it don't happen like that. So
Right,
this
right.
overly romanticized idea of what relationship should be, an impractical list of expectations of things that you don't have or you can't complement, I would say is probably the biggest and most detrimental issue in regards to singles finding love and finding partnership. I think one of the most positive things that someone can have would be the exact opposite. Knowing that a relationship will take some compromise. I don't like using the phrase take work. I don't see it as work, right? I see it as a natural progression of two human beings. So a relationship will take compromise. Things will not be perfect all the time. There are ups and downs. You may not have this ideal way that you meet. You may meet on an app, and that's okay, right? You may meet, sweaty in the gym, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be at a gala. So having realistic expectations of your relationships and having realistic expectations of what you're looking for in a partner would be what's going to help you to find love faster.
Absolutely.
Alison, how can they find you? How
Yes,
can
sir.
anything that you have going on, follow the story, use your services, whatever the case may be? How do they go about that? How can they find everything that you have
Absolutely.
going on?
So on everything, I am at Align with Alison, Align with Alison, 1L, Alison. So that's on Facebook, that's on Instagram, Twitter, Clubhouse, everything that you can imagine. My website is alignwithallison.com. So if there's anybody who's looking for free resources, I have those too. I have free ebooks and free trainings. But if you've come to the realization that YouTube and videos haven't been enough, and you really need some more specific support about how to find the partner you deserve, how to come up with the list of characteristics, how do you pick up on red flags, what kind of questions should you be asking, like that real one-on-one support, I do have coaching programs as well. So they can really, I'm on Instagram. Instagram is my baby. So at Align with Alison, DM me, email me, info at alignwithallison.com.
One of her clients, she gave them the steps that they needed, engaged in 3 months.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, you got to talk about that. You know what I mean? You should beat your chest a little bit. You should be on
I
your
did.
Jada.
Oh, she
You should be on
did.
your
She
Jada
did.
kiss right
She
now.
did. I'm telling you, she did. She was like, look, I'm about to beat my chest. And
Yeah,
then she
that's
told
exactly.
the
And
story.
normally I don't do all that, but I just went live about a few days ago to tell that story, and I said today is brag day. I was going off. Today is brag day because I'm bragging. She followed the steps. She didn't want to go on dating apps because people on dating apps are weird. This is 2021. The same people that you're meeting at Starbucks or at the gym or wherever are the same people that are on dating apps. She met a guy on Match. They hit it off immediately. They found out that they kind of did know each other from childhood a little bit, a friend of a cousin. Because if you're in the same relative neighborhood, you know somebody who knows somebody.
Exactly.
They're regular human beings on dating apps. They hit it off, engaged, to be married in 3 months. They get married next year, August. I'm going. My husband's going. It's lit.
Right. Thank you so much, Allison, for everything. Like, we really appreciate you. This was amazing. What a way to start season 4.
It was really great info, great food, and we really appreciate that. Thank you for dealing with us in the background noise and boats and people in the water. We really appreciate that.
Not a
we really
problem.
do. Thank you so much.
Yes, it's been a pleasure. Have a good one, guys.
You
Thank
as
you.
well. Season 4, Love and Business
Online.
Thank you so
We'll
much.
see you on Friday.
Y'all be safe.
Friday,
See you
8
Friday.
p.m. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Alison, thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good